It was a perfect day for boating. Anyone with a boat, or even without, was floating on the river. George had never seen so many different boats in his life. And then he saw a boat that wasn't like any he'd ever seen before. A boat full of cars.
Oh, that's a ferry boat. It carries people in cars across the river.
George loved cars. But cars and boats together, it was the apple pie and ice cream of transportation.
Boat show. Big prizes for little...
What do you think of her, George? Sailors call boats her. I bet a city kid like you never knew that.
Yeah. You made that, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Well, that is pretty impressive, isn't it, George?
Oh, thanks. But it's nothing compared to Mr. Quint's model whaling boat. That's it over there.
Draw the nets, laddies. Aye, aye, Cap'n.
And over there is Mrs. Rankin's Ark. And look at all those over there. It's some pretty tough competition this year.
Now, don't underestimate yourself, Bill. That is one fine-looking boat. Good luck. Oh, sure, you can stay with Bill. I'll set you up right here. Okay, I'll be over at the bleachers saving up some seats and sizing up Bill's competition.
I'd sure like to win a ribbon, George. To buy this kit, I had to save 9 weeks of money for my paper route. Oh, I almost forgot to do my paper route. Could you do me a big favor and watch my boat while I'm gone?
There were a lot of nice boats here, but not one person had built the greatest boat. A ferry boat. Maybe he could build one. Ever since he first heard of them, earlier that morning. Luckily, Bill's boat looked good as new. Maybe he just put it down the wrong way.
Hey, George, how's it going? I'll be back after I deliver the rest of these papers. Thanks for taking good care of my boat.
George couldn't figure out what he'd done to it. It looked perfect. Bill couldn't enter the contest with this boat. George had to build him a new one, and fast.
I know those knocks. Come on in, guys.
Wow, what's that?
My hobby, working on complex things, relaxes me.
Have you ever seen such a beautiful clock, George?
So, what do you think?
Very impressive.
I'm glad you liked it, George.
Oh, we should go. The rocket presentation is starting soon.
Are you coming with us, George? Or do you want to stay here and watch the clock? Now, if you want to see the little people play again, move the minute hand once around to 12. Have fun.
How long does it take to build a clock like that?
Oh, about 3 years.
Oh, that reminds me. I'll be right back.
George wanted to see the little people again. That looked like George's friend, Compass, the almost homing pigeon. Because when all the other homing pigeons homed in on the statue, he almost made it. It was Compass, all right. George was happy to see his friend the pigeon. And Compass was happy to see his friend the... George wanted Compass to see... He couldn't fix the minute hand, and that's what made the little people play. He knew they were in there somewhere. When you take something apart, it's a good idea to pay attention. So, that's what George did. Then, he reached Monkey Nose Heaven.
Hello, George. It smells better back here, you know.
George couldn't believe all those different, plain-smelling... George was wondering what kind of magic donut makers knew when his ears got in the way of his nose. George's friend Gnocchi was locked in combat with her arch-enemy, the extra-large cutesy bow. George didn't understand Tabby, but he listened politely. Gnocchi was thrilled to be free from looking cute. George was officially a cat hero. George almost forgot he was smelling today. Then, Chef Pischetti's kitchen grabbed his nose. Chef Pischetti's kitchen was like a nose circus.
Gnocchi, il mio gatto dolce. You've lost your pretty ribbon. Come see, come see. Ba-ba-doo-ba-doo. There. Now she's cute. Welcome, Giorgio. How is your friend Capello Giallo Grande? Oh, I can't play. I'm making a very special meal for famous restaurant critic Sally Tessio. When she likes a place, business booms. So it's very important that everything be perfect. She has the delicate taste.
You said there'd be fresh bread. I don't see any bread here.
Well, taste is delicate.
This hard stuff was spaghetti? Didn't smell like anything. It didn't smell like much, and the steam coming out was hot. George had to be careful. It had changed. These were magic. Here was a pot that turned. What else could it turn floppy? A soft, floppy egg. That'd be funny. Good candidate for floppification. Hundley, the doorman's dachshund, loved his lobby to be clean and organized, just like him.
Good morning, Hundley. Don't you look very shiny and sleek today?
My keys! Thank you, Hundley.
Dante says thank you, Hundley.
Having sharp hearing made him an excellent squeak detector.
Sound perfect at all times. And his uniform must be spotless. Packet 217. Oh no! I'm out of uniform. Delivery, I rush right up.
Right on time. I buy and sell autograph balls. Very expensive. This one's Freddy Frikikio. I have a...
Don't worry. Hundley and I'll make sure they're safe. Out of uniform. Ugh. A doorman's uniform is as important as his door. What's wrong, Hundley? A doorman must be spotless. I have to go to the dry cleaners. I won't be long. You're in charge, Hundley.
Hundley knew the first order of business. Watch George. George never realized how much he liked the doorman's uniform. An exceptionally good job.
A doorman's uniform is as important as his door.
Hundley had to get that monkey out of uniform. But he still had a job to do.
I see you have a new partner, Hundley. You're both so handsome.
Time is of the essence. How quickly can you clean an oil stain?
An oil stain about this size?
Then try. I can wait because I know Hundley will keep the lobby in perfect order.
Hundley tried to get the coat off George, which is how he found out George was ticklish. One thing George liked about Lake Wanasink Lake was that he never felt alone, even when he couldn't see other animals. He could tell that
George, hi. How about a hand? Yeah, I'm preparing an exhibit on local wildlife for the town Thanks. Have fun at the lake? Wow! You saw all those animals? You only heard them? Okay, just point the microphone toward the sound till you hear it nice and loud in the headphones. Then, push this red button to record it. Remember, the closer you are to an animal, the louder it gets. But don't get too close.
This was simple for a smart monkey. He tracked one woodpecker and thought he heard a second one. Then he heard a new one, inside. George knew how to track a sound. Then went silent. Then it was far away again. This called for a second opinion.
151, 152. Wait. Oh, hi, George. Yeah, can you wait till I'm done with the moth census? Okay, I'm coming. Oh, that's just the smoke detector, George. It needs a new battery.
George wasn't sure this was the... There it was again. And it didn't come from the smoke detector. That thing was here somewhere. It was loud. George had been counting the minutes all morning. He could hardly wait. Today was Dog Show Day.
Looking forward to seeing your first dog show, George?
Dog show. The idea of dogs putting on a show sounded better than anything he'd ever heard.
If that's Professor Wiseman, would you please let her in? I can't go, remember? I have to finish crunching these numbers.
Bye.
Have fun, you two. And, George. Be a good little monkey, exactly. And close the door, please.
George got more and more excited until the show began. And he found out that a dog show wasn't dogs putting on a show. It was people showing their dogs to each other.
Would you like to see the winners up close?
George got a big surprise. Because when he actually looked at the big ones,
the unforgettable dogs before.
I hope he wasn't too much trouble.
He was no trouble at all.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Gotta run. See you tomorrow.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye. So, you like the dog show, huh?
George wanted to tell the man about all the unforgettable, but he only remembered 3.
It's okay, you can tell me later. Oh, would you do me a big favor and mail these letters? I made a sandwich if you're hungry.
Because no matter how hard he tried, he could only remember 3.
Skill, patience, and timing. Remember, George, to cross a log, you need exact foot placement and a keen sense of balance. Those are tadpoles, George. A common form of pond life. Hey, why don't we take some back home and observe their growth? Both proper net control and collecting jar placement are crucial. Now remember, I want you to watch them closely for me. They do some amazing things as they grow. Keep them safe in that bowl, and they should be just fine.
And so, on that gloriously sunny day, the tadpole's bowl was small. George thought they deserved to stretch their, well, whatever a tadpole stretches, and decided to let them enjoy a quick swim in the lagoon while he went to get their lunch. Where could the tadpoles be? What would he tell Bill?
Time to go back to the city, George.
Be okay without a monkey to feed or protect them.
I bet kids like you never see that in the city, huh?
Weeks went by before George returned to the lake. Any days in the country?
This is great weather. For ducks?
Yes, it was duck mud. He knew he didn't squish that quack out. He had discovered self-quacking duck mud. Okay, it wasn't duck mud. There were real ducks.
Puddle ducks. See, George, I told you it was great weather for ducks. You're gonna be busy, George. Have fun.
Jumpy Squirrel suddenly became aware of 2 things. The rain had stopped, and that hairy duck looked familiar. Jumpy Squirrel usually jumped away from anything new. Peking Duck was the same way. Maybe that's why they became good friends instantly. George played by the puddle all day. He even had ducks in his dreams.
I always knew you were meant to be a duck. Have a nice flight.
For centuries, people have wondered what squirrels dream about. The next morning, George raced out for another day with puddle ducks. Something was wrong. The puddle was smaller, a lot smaller.
George? Wow, that puddle sure shrunk. Well, puddles soak into the ground. They don't last forever. Ducks go where there's plenty of water. When the water's gone, they'll leave. It's just what ducks do. You want to come with me to mend fences at the Rankins? Or play with the ducks before they go?
For a professional lobby dog like Hunley, it's nice to catch a nap when the lobby is peaceful. But when George lives in your building, guarding against monkey mishaps is always more important than sleep.
Good morning. Headed out to have fun?
No, going to Dr. Baker for my annual checkup.
Right on time as usual. What didn't you bring? Oh, George. Hello. Have a seat in the waiting room. I'll call you when the doctor's ready.
George learned that the thing you need most in a doctor's waiting room is patience.
Huh?
A mysterious sound. George listened as quietly as he could.
Dr. Baker will see you now.
Oh, great. Come on, George. We're finally getting out of the waiting room.
George gave up hope of hearing any mystery sound past that sneezing.
I'm still waiting for Dr. Gesund. Well, I'm sure he'll be right with you. Excuse me, has Dr. Gesund seen you yet?
No. Where is he?
He should be right with you. You're waiting for Dr. Gesund, too? He should be right with you.
Oh, hi, Doctor. You remember George?
How could I forget? Before your last checkup, I never knew the X-ray machine fit out the window.
Dr. Baker, have you seen Dr. Gesund? His patients are waiting.
No. You should check the X-ray room. And you should take off your shirt for the examination.
Yeah, sure, Doc.
George thought he'd like to be a doctor because Dr. Baker seemed so smart. And he got to wear a really great white coat.
Okay, let's get started. Up on the scale. Whoa, I think you need to cut out the desserts. You've gained some weight.
What? I have maybe one donut a month. I run marathons. It's impossible.
Same as last year.
Whew.
This is how I check his reflexes, George.
My knee's starting to get sore.
Oh, sorry. I never get to play with a monkey.
Dr. Gesund...
Okay, take a long, deep breath. Oh, I don't like the sound of that breathing.
No, George was...
Whoa! Ever used a stethoscope, George? I use it to hear things that I can't see.
That's the sound of my heart.
You can play with your heart while we go to the X-ray room.
Sometimes a little monkey finds a new thing that's more interesting than anything else on Earth. For George, it was the baby giant panda, which was being shown live on the zoo website.
George, are you gonna be much longer? Well, I need to get work done, and you've been on the computer all day. Oh, is that what you've been watching? The Panda Cam? Hey, you know those pictures come from the park zoo right down the block. Well, yeah, you can go there and see the panda right in front of you in the new panda habitat. Bye. Be a good little monkey.
There was one thing on George's mind. Baby panda. Baby panda. Baby panda.
Look, Mommy! Flamingos!
George didn't want to go the wrong way and lose any panda time. How could he choose a path? A nice big map. George decided to take it and follow the pictures to guide him through the zoo. He'd found the pandas. That map really worked. This was much better than watching on the computer. George could watch the panda for hours. And he did. Until he felt like that baby would never get any leaves to eat.
Nobody here? Guess I can lock up.
Time flies when you're watching pandas. George realized he'd better go before they close the zoo. The paths were too confusing. George liked visiting Professor Wiseman because she did so many different things. This time, she was helping out on a rocket launch. And the man with the yellow hat was going to ride the rocket.
So, you ready to be the first average untrained person shot into space?
I sure am.
There's only room for one, George, but I have a special seat for you right beside me so you can watch. This is Dr. Alvin Einstein and Professor Anthony Pizza.
Wow. Are you related to the famous...
No, I'm not.
Me neither.
The International Space Station's food supply has run out.
We found a peanut. It was in the cushion of my chair.
This man with the yellow hat will bring your food supply today.
So then it's okay to eat the peanut now?
Well, should he? No, I'm not sure. Oh, yes, I think it's...
Yes, you may eat the peanut.
So, this is your rocket designed by Professor Wiseman.
It's up to you to launch the food payload at exactly the proper moment. After it detaches from the rocket, it will connect to the space station. Can we count on you?
Sure can.
Professor Pizza and I are loading extra experiments you'll deliver with the food.
George wanted to see what these experiments were.
George, careful. This is an expensive, high-tech... raccoon?
They'll live at the space station so we can study how they adapt to life in space.
George could see into all the containers except this one. What was hidden in there?
Show him the most important part.
These keypads launch the payload. You hit these 2 keys on each pad at the same time.
On all 4 at the same time?
Yes, at the exact moment the rocket passes the space station.
I can't. I only have 2 hands.
The keypads were Pizza's idea.
The raccoon was my idea. The 4 keypads was yours.
Oh, here we go.
Check your memos.
I specifically remembered when you came up with the 4 keypads.
Oh, we have to scrub the mission.
Or find an astronaut with 4 hands. Hey.
A warm country day. George's favorite time to go boating. Toy boating, that is. Even a toy boat captain can hit rough seas in his favorite perfect pond. Sea captains don't cry, they make repairs. Or ask a friend to.
I can have it fixed for you first thing tomorrow morning, Captain.
So, at exactly 10 seconds before the first thing the next morning...
Right on time. There you go. Ready to set sail again.
George rushed back to his perfect pond to set sail. Now he had a boat, but no pond. And the creek was only a trickle. Where could a whole pond go? He didn't find his pond, but he found a strange wall in the creek. Here's what happened to the water. It got stuck behind this wall.
Hey, George! Looking for the Beaver family? The beavers built their dam to make this great pond. Bet you never see beavers working in the city, huh? Yep, that's them now, working in the woods. I took pictures of them. Don't get too close while they work or they'll get upset. Bye!
So these were the beavers. George tried to tell them their branches were floating away. He must have gotten too close. If the beavers didn't want him watching, he'd just sail his boat. If they wouldn't share their pond, he'd make his own. All he had to do was build a dam like they did. There must be an easier way to get wood for a monkey dam. Mrs. Rinkin's scrap wood.
Been having lots of fun with your boat? you want the scrap wood, do you? Take it. I'll even hitch the cart to Leslie to help haul it.